Audubon 2456.
File corrupted. Beginning recovery process.
State of the Save is back with File Corrupted. It's good to be back. It was always weird to miss an episode. If you guys didn't have a chance to listen to last episode, you missed out on something really, really cool. Michael, Nick, and John did a wonderful job with part 2 of Undertale. Once again, it's Eric. Here with my trusty co-host here, Michael. What's up, Michael?
I was host once, and I don't want to do it again. I feel like I talked way too much.
You did fine. Anytime you host this thing, whoever hosts is just going to feel like they talk the whole time. It's just part of the job. Many times I listen back to the show before we post, and I'm like, boy, I wish I would shut up. But somebody's got to be the guy to tell people what to do next or what we're going to do. So I guess it just falls to either me or you, depending on the day. But I think you did wonderful. I think that
I wasn't fishing for this, but I'll take it for sure.
It's just a Michael pat on the back episode. Welcome to 45 minutes of patting Michael on the back about Undertale Part 2. I admit I was a little nervous when you told me how long that show was. I was like, oh no. But when I listened to it, it was a really solid show. Undertale Part 2, I think, is one of our better episodes. The guys did a great job. I am sad that I missed the conversation, but I feel like for our fan base, it was probably for the best that I wasn't on Undertale Part 2, because God knows my opinion have already caused enough issues among the hosts, much less the fandom. We don't need to piss off the fans again. Once again, this is a digital show. Usually no issues on that, but take that as you will. I am still here on the baby front. War is trudging along. Sleep is lacking, and I don't even know what some of the fluids being thrown at me are. I don't even know anymore. But we wanted to do a show today, and we have a fun topic. We're going to be talking about our favorite characters in video games. I have been playing the Tomb Raider, Square Enix Tomb Raider series. I've been living in that world for a little while, and their version of Laura made me kind of think about my favorite characters in games and made me pitch this topic to my buddy Michael here. So it's going to be a good episode, Michael. Are you excited?
I am excited. I woke up this morning, and the first thing I did was, as I spend most mornings, writing a list of video game characters I like. So.
The most prepared member of the State of the Save community is Michael. No one else out-prepares Michael. I just kind of show up and wing it. It's like, do you got notes? Yeah, I got notes. There's like 2 notes in my phone.
I'm not going to touch on all of them. I just went through my game collection app and was like, I'm just going to write down characters I feel really strongly about and then talk about the ones I feel like in that moment.
Yeah, I was just sitting at the Publix in the line to get checkout, and I was like, I got some ideas.
That's where the best ideas begin forming, the line at Publix.
You're sitting there just waiting at the line in the Publix. Before we do that, let's talk about some video games we've been playing. Michael, you finished
I finished, yeah.
Go ahead. Talk about what you finished.
Final Fantasy VII Remake is done.
How many hours did that take for you to finish?
32.
Okay, so a pretty significant chunk of time to finish Final Fantasy.
Granted, I did every side quest on normal. It still says I have some side quests missing, but that might be locked behind the hard difficulty, or there might be some that unlock post-game, because there's a chapter select that opens up once you beat the game. And there is a combat simulator that opens up once you beat the game in Chapter 17. Of course, if you played base Final Fantasy VII, the main crux of the first area is Shinra headquarters. So in Shinra headquarters, there's a combat simulator that opens up once you beat the game, you unlock a whole lot of combat challenges. So there's a lot of post-game material, a surprising amount that opened up to me, and including a new game plus mode, which seems really cool. So overall, I'm not sure. I'm somewhere between I absolutely love this game and I really like this game. Because when it comes to... Sorry?
So, okay, one thing just on your percentage it kind of threw me off is it has a chapter select. How does that work in an RPG where characters are theoretically progressing? Do you go into either chapter at what you were at? Or do you,
I don't know. I beat this last night, so I haven't had time to, like, delve into the chapter select stuff, so I don't know how this is going to play out. I imagine the leveling will scale. But I'm not entirely sure.
That's the one thing I was thinking about is, like, you go back into, like, chapter 1 at your level you completed the, whole game at, because that could be kind of interesting as a way to, like, do quick cleanup of side quests and stuff. Like,
that's what I'm hoping for. And if I want a challenge, now I can play New Game Plus on hard mode and just go in and have like go in with all my combat abilities I unlocked.
Yeah.
And have plow through that game again, because as I said before, I am somewhere between really liking this game and really loving this game. It's either or situation, because they nail the character writing, and that's something I'm going to talk about too when I talk about my favorite characters, because they knocked it out of the park when it comes to the character writing. And I love people are divisive on the combat. I absolutely love the combat. The overall story is really good and leaves off in a very interesting spot for the future, to where, not going to dive into spoilers or anything, because I think everybody who's interested in action RPGs or Final Fantasy in general should definitely check out the remake. But it leaves off in a spot to where you're they can kind of do what they want for the next game. They don't necessarily have to rely too much on the first game anymore. And that is so fascinating.
Do you feel like the kind of the new content that they showed off, or the stuff that they expanded, is better than the straight from the original game content, or is it about the same? Because I know that there's a lot of expanding on themes and sections in this from the original game. I just wonder, is there a situation where it's how much of this, now that you've completed it, how much of this, remake is a straight one-to-one remake, and how much of it is almost like a reimagining of Final Fantasy VII?
It's mostly a reimagining, I would say. But then again, it's coming from somebody because Midgar is only the first 6 to 10 hours of the game, and this is expanded. They made it 4 times as long. So every single section is fully developed, incredibly detailed, and almost to a fault in the back half. There feels like there's some padding to make some sections longer than necessarily it needs to. The train graveyard section in the original Final Fantasy VII is 15 minutes long, and here it's a full chapter. So about an hour to an hour and a half. And at that moment, you're there's some stuff in the plot that needs to be going. We could kind of pick up the pace here a little bit in some aspects. But overall, the combat and the characters were why I played this game, and those had stayed great from the beginning to the very end. Some pacing issues aside, overall, this was a great game. And I'm very excited for part 2, especially some of the crazy shakeups in the story has me really looking forward to it. As someone who never even finished base Final Fantasy VII, I'm excited to see where the story goes from this point. Because, of course, being in the video game space, I know of some stuff that will happen in part 2 that will probably break me.
Especially being able to do it in a nice, really beautifully rendered world. Where they are obviously taking their time more with some of the story developments. They tease
some of that stuff later on, because they go in with you knowing everybody knows some of the stuff that happens in Final Fantasy VII. So to see flash forwards moments happening, I'm how dare you? First of all,
they're we're not fooling anybody. We all know.
I'm enjoying this scene. Goes. I'm just enjoying this scene with this character. Flash forwards something horrible, and you're stop! What do you know?
Why does it
Don't
keep
remind me
showing
of that.
blood in the water? Why is that there? Why does it keep doing that? I really like the design decision on this whole thing. I think it's a great looking game. I will play it eventually.
Beautiful.
But I love the idea of taking kind of this beloved game that it could have been very easy to do a really cheap remake of. And it would have sold great. People would have been happy with it. But the idea of doing like a really in-depth remaster or / reimagining of the game is really cool to me. It's almost like taking a classic film and instead of just doing a remake of it, making a HBO series that goes 6 seasons. You know, it really expands on every aspect of it.
It's like the comparison I would draw is Fargo. Fargo being like a cult classic Colin Burth series, and then it's like, hey, let's make a series of Fargo. We start out kind of touching the base of the movie, and then expanding it and going crazy with like the story and stuff. So
yeah,
that's what I most likely compare it to.
Like I said, and the biggest thing is they didn't have to do this to make money. You could have done a really quick, down and dirty remake, and you would have made a ton of money, and people would have been happy with it.
That being said, dividing it into presumably 3 chunks is also going to make them a lot of money.
True. This is true.
Especially since they're going to... I got this on sale on PS4, and it got up to the PS5 version, but now they got me in for Day 1, Part 2, and Part 3, because I gotta know where the story... I gotta see where the story goes. I want more... What I'm hoping for is I hope my character level and my items and my material loadout carries over to the next game, because it'd be weird to start from scratch in what is really the first like 10 hours of a huge RPG in the original. So I'm really hoping like I'm really hoping like my all that stuff, including like my play style and everything, carries over.
Yeah, I agree. That would be very odd to show up and like, hey, in the original game,
Sephiroth comes and steals your gear and just runs away.
Now, if they did that, I'd be okay with it. If like every one of the next 2 games opens with him just showing up, stealing all your stuff while you sleep and running away. It's like, I guess I'm back to level 1 now. And then in the 3rd game, you can even do that line like, oh, I can't believe I fell for this twice. I'm okay. If you want to do that, I'm fine with it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's either between...
like, that man stole my arm again!
Yes, exactly. It's just a Rocket Raccoon situation where he just keeps taking your stuff. I'm okay with this. I am glad that that it held up for you. It seems like it's I'm very excited to play. I will play it eventually. One thing that we'll talk about on the next regular show, I want to table it for now just because I want to talk about it when we're all in person, is the Sony press conference, the State of Play.
We'll talk about that.
And along with games like Final Fantasy and stuff like that, Sony continues to just kill it. And like this one right here makes it... I feel like this is another generation where I'm ending up with both consoles.
I came away from the Xbox conference too going, oh man, I need a Series S at least for the future. I need that Game Pass machine.
I think that's what we're going to be. Like, I'll be the opposite, where I'll get the digital only PlayStation and I have my Series X. So I feel like it's going to be a situation. And this is the way it was with the 360 generation too, where I had a 360 and a PlayStation 3. It's just last generation was the first generation in a while that I only had one of the consoles. But,
same. I usually find myself with like a main system and a backup system, but the backup system this time ended up being the Switch for me, which it's a good choice of backup system because there's some good stuff happening on that.
I sent a Discord message to you during the State of Play that said that, you know, as a guy who bought the Series X, you'd think I'd be sitting there being like, boy, I hope Sony doesn't have all the great games. And it's like, no, competition is good. I want competition. If we have great games coming out for Sony and we have great games coming out for Switch, Microsoft's going to have to up their game and have great games coming out too. I want all 3 of these consoles to be producing high quality shit so I can continue to get high quality shit.
Even Phil Spencer said when he was asking what he hoped for the next generation, he's like, of course I hope we sell the most units, but I want all of us to sell more than we've ever have. And I feel like I think they're gonna hit that mark.
Things are starting well.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I saw.
I'm like, oh man, I want all these games. Like,
yeah. I saw recently on I forget what website it was. It was just a regular news website. It was talking about how console sales have already exceeded expectations by both Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo Switch came out and did great, obviously. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be a hot generation, which is good because like last generation felt very one-sided and very transitional to me.
Yeah.
This one feels like this might be the next big, awesome, exciting generation for all of us. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here. And like I said, I want a bunch of cool stuff. I want to be sitting there going, "Damn, I need to get like looking at my Series X and playing all the stuff on there, and then being like, well, I still need to get one of those PlayStations." So I feel like it's a good problem to have. But we'll talk about all that stuff when we get back together in person.
Reconvene.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump in. I'll tell you, I've been playing a lot of video games for a man who you imagine my schedule would be packed, but there's not many things you can do in life with a newborn except sit on the couch and have a baby on your chest and play video games. I've gotten pretty good at like wrapping the baby onto me and then playing video games around the baby. It's a very key art form. But the series I've been playing, other than stuff for the show, like Sonic Adventures 2, which is our next game, which y'all gonna want to listen to that one. I ain't gonna tell you why. If you want to see a hot take coming, Sonic Adventure 2 is gonna be a hot one. It's gonna come in hot.
I feel like all the hot takes about Sonic Adventure 2 have already happened, like in the past decade.
Oh no! They have never seen Eric revved up about Sonic Adventure. All right, I'm coming in spitting fire. But we'll leave that to the side. I bought probably about a month ago now, Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which were the Square Enix games, 2 and 3 of their Tomb Raider relaunch, remake, reimagining, whatever you want to call it.
Prequel trilogy thing.
Prequel feels weird to say. Yeah, I mean, technically they are, but by the time you get to that third one, it's really hard to say that she's like still a prequel.
How many games are until like she actually becomes the Tomb Raider? It's like this is the one where before she becomes the Tomb Raider. Oh my god! At that point, I'm already raiding tombs. I think I'm already there.
It's really hard to make that argument in once you get out of the first game. So I had played the first game when it came out. I had liked it. I just never got around to playing the second and third. And when I started the second one, I remembered that, boy, these games were right up my fucking alley. I'm a big fan of big adventure action experiences where there's lots of things to explore and platforming and this, that, and the other, and character progression and this, that, and the other. That second game, you can't claim that this is still a prequel. I mean, at that point, Laura is dealing with paramilitary groups.
When she gets the 2 pistols in the first game, that's when you know she's Tomb Raider.
I will say this though: they never give her the 2 pistols in the second game. That's just an unlock that I did not get. I played all the. I missed one challenge tomb because I bought the definitive editions of all these. I missed one challenge tomb, and then I played some DLC stuff that took place in the mansion afterwards. But no dual pistols in the second game. The third game I've started, and it's very, very damn good. It has a great opening that reminds. They looked at a lot of the Uncharted stuff. You can tell there's a particular opening in the third game that involves a flood that you are in the middle of. That is straight out
Uncharted.
Oh yes, yeah, it's super. It's right out of there, but it's damn impressive. Very good, and I think it's up-res for the Xbox Series X. I'm not entirely sure. I do know I got a lot of upgraded options when I started the game, so it looks very damn good. Water effects look amazing, but those games, man, are so damn good. I can't speak highly enough of them, especially that third one so far. The experience of wandering through the jungle. It's one of the few games that does like a jungle well. Like you feel like you're trotting through it. It's difficult terrain, and it feels like it. You can occasionally kind of lose your path pretty easily, but not in a way that's frustrating. They do a lot of the challenge tombs are where they get straight up into like old school Tomb Raider or like puzzle solving. So you can play that game without doing the challenge tombs, and you can probably just have kind of a very Uncharted like experience. There's some fun action adventure kind of game, and then you do the challenge tombs, and that's where you do the classic Tomb Raider, solving puzzles, trying to bend the light reflection to hit the spot, or managing water levels and stuff like that. So like for me, I kind of like the way they've done that. Well, if for somebody like me who wants to play all the tombs, that's really what the appeal is to me. That's like my main thing.
I know a lot of my complaints to like modern game design is like, this is just a checklist. I'm like, but let me finish the game and then give me a checklist. Like if I feel like I'm checking off boxes while I'm playing, I'm like, this feels like this is not what I want. But for a lot of that post game content, like wrapping up stuff, like give me something, give me a list of like stuff I can do in this here video game.
And they do a great job in these of not being like there was a lot of side mission stuff that's occasionally is a little bit like fetch questy, go get a bunch of rabbits for the people or whatever. But then there's a lot of really good stuff where it's like, hey, we're trying to prepare for this assault that's happening against the village. So we're going to take down these drones. Or we got to get to this spot where there's a jaguar. We got to kill this jaguar that's like a mini boss. And then, like I said, all of the challenge tombs are, in the second game in particular, all of them are fucking great. I said, they are the most puzzly of all the game gets, and because they're optional, it can be more like that, There was an instinct, I think a Tomb Raider instinct or whatever it is that you can trigger throughout the game. That
detective vision.
Exactly. These are very much like the Arkham games. Which reminded me how much I like this kind of game. But if you use that, it does help you out, and I think if you trigger it enough, like Laura will give you little hints. Like, I think something with dealing with like the water level is how I can fix this. Like, she'll like be, hey, dumbass, I know you've been staring at this for 5 minutes. Let me help you out here. But it's a damn good game, man. The story is a little convoluted. You can play this and not be super involved in the story.
That's how I usually play the Tomb Raiders type games and stuff.
I will say the definitive editions are really quite kind of good because you get a lot of like the options for like the fancier weapons and stuff. Basically, the moment you unlock in the game that kind of weapon, the definitive edition will give you like all the options. So you get the shotgun. When you get to the point you get the shotgun, you can just be like, and next time I change my weapons, I'm just going to go ahead and pick this semi-automatic shotgun. Or if I get the bow, I'm just go ahead and get the best bow. And for this kind of game, once you get the weapon available to you, I think it's more fun just to be like, and now I have the coolest one. I mean, it works well. But yeah, that's the big thing I've been playing. I also finished, I think I said, finished Quake. First time I finished that was on a list of games that were on our pile of shame on one of these shows a few months back. Thankfully, I fixed that and played through Quake. Quake is fucking amazing. I believe a friend of the show, Zach, maybe one day me and him might get together, and we both like boomer shooters and old school FPSs. So we might get together and talk some Quake. I've been trying to...
That'd be a good show to listen to. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on Quake. I played somewhere in the middle of Chapter 2 of Quake, and I'm really enjoying it. The flow of it is much more Doom 1 than I was expecting. So I'm like, oh, it's just a labyrinth. It's not like a ginormous stage where you have to dig for 45 minutes to get a key card like in Doom 2. But
it's a lot more user-friendly than Doom 2. I never finished Doom 2 when I play Doom 2. I will always play a little bit of it and get to the point that first time I might finish a couple of the episodes.
You get to the city level and you're like, all right,
yeah,
put it down.
Quake, it's a lot more user friendly. It loses a little bit of the style, and maybe this is a good kind of like transition into some of our talk about favorite characters. It's like the character design in Quake is by no means as interesting as Doom's character design. The sprites have so much personality, especially in Doom 2. There's a reason why those characters were able to transfer over to Doom 2016 so well. like an Archvile is still a damn good looking enemy in Doom Eternal, the same way he was in Doom 2. Quake's enemies are a little bit more functional, and that's just because of the new technology that they were on. I will say I'm a big fan. I'm gonna pimp a YouTube channel. I think his name is Civi11. Does a lot of old school first person shooter and boomer shooters and remasters or remakes, and we kind of in those classic shooter style games. He does a ton of reviews on them. And he has a great series on Quake, and he's really good at the technical side of why Quake is as impressive as it is. And if you watch that video before playing through the game, it really would draw your attention to a lot of the really cool technical stuff going on with Quake that even to this day is very impressive for the technology.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And like I said,
anything breaking down like classic game styles is something I'm into. So, send me the link.
I'll send you a link to his videos are very real. He's he's got a cool sense of humor. He's one of my favorite YouTube people. Actually, friend of the show, Zach, turned me on to him. And it's a damn good kind of kind of sets your mind in the right spot to talk about it. And one of these days we'll do that Boomer Shooter episode. Project Warlock 2 is coming along pretty well, and I got Dusk on my Switch now that I'm gonna be playing. So there's a Boomer Shooter episode coming soon.
I've heard good things about Dusk.
Dusk, what I've only played the first episode, and I am told that every single episode of Dusk improves.
Okay.
I like what I played so far very well. Very good. And like I said, I will pimp Project Warlock every single chance I get, because Project Warlock is an amazing video game, and Project Warlock 2 looks to be even better.
Did it get funded?
I think it did get funded. I have a very hard... They did a... it was somehow related to the 3D Realms guys. I'm very vague on it, but they did like a Boomer Shooter, almost like a digital con, where they had a bunch of these games being shown, and he showed almost, I think, a couple of levels of Project Warlock 2. You can dual wield now. Fancy smancy.
Good news, it did get funded.
Yeah, I figured it would. There's no way.
It was a pre-order one. It was a $242 goal. Like,
anybody who plays Project Warlock, I think, is going to just go ahead and get.
That's Project the website Warlock domain was what they were asking for.
Yeah, like I said, it's damn good, man. It's damn good. You want to jump into our topic?
Let's do it.
All right. So, favorite characters. I love stories. Believe it or not, I will say this: that when it comes to video games, stories to me fall secondary to mechanics. So when if you sat me down and you said to me, Eric, name your top 20 characters of all time in all of fiction, a lot of those are going to probably be film characters or movie or book characters, a lot of characters from books. But there is a lot of video game characters that still ring in that same category. And I guess one of the reasons why we were doing this, I was talking to Michael beforehand, playing through the Tomb Raider kind of series has made me think a lot about Laura as a character, especially in those new games. But also, I was thinking about it. Me, you, and Nick were talking on the Discord about my feelings on Undertale, and I was like, well, Undertale boiled down to me to mechanics being the problem, the gameplay itself. And I was like, well, is it just that gameplay mechanics are more valued to me than characters and stories in games? And I was like, no, they aren't. I still really love those, but I think that it kind of triggered my thoughts on that when I was kind of breaking down my feelings on it. And I want to talk about our favorite characters in video games. So let's do what we usually do with these kind of list shows that are not clickbaity at all. Never will be clickbait. Always so much better than that. Michael, let's start with you. Name off one of your characters that you like.
Let's just grab one from this list here. I've been thinking a lot about Agent 47 from Hitman. And you're like, isn't that dude just like a blank slate assassin guy? But it's how they use him. In particular, I'm talking about like the recent Hitman World of Assassination trilogy.
Yeah.
So what I love about Agent 47 is, like, much like Wei Shen in Sleeping Dogs, he's a social chameleon. He can blend into any environment that he's in. And what I love about 47 is not so much 47, but like how characters play off of him. For example, there's one where you need to assassinate. There's one mission where you need to assassinate a singer for this band in Bangkok. You can choke out the drummer, put on, which is a completely different style for 47, like a very like kind of cowboy get up with a cowboy hat, and just go and just play the drums for a drum track, and that's how you like blend in, and then you can get behind the singer and choke him out and kill him. So people have seen the drummer like for this like high profile like musician, and 47 can just walk in, have the confidence and he doesn't change his voice to mimic at all. He's just talking in his normal 47 voice like this, and you're like, oh yeah, absolutely, you're the drummer, dude. The fact that he can blend into any environment like that and just start playing the drums, and the fact that he's the best at every single aspect of what he does, like, oh, of course this guy knows how to play drums. Of course this guy is also like a really good sleuth. There's one mission in Hitman 2 where one of your disguises is a realtor, so you're giving a tour of this home, and he's just the way he's describing the home is like where to hide bodies and everything. It was like, oh, the floor doesn't make enough noise when you're trying to sneak through it at night. He's exactly what he needs to be for the games, and the way characters like play off of him is what I love so much about Agent 47. Like, those games are they're a perfect blend of like airplane style humor, but also like a really in-depth political spy thriller. And the fact that they can balance both all hinges on 47. The fact that he's so stoic and serious, but also can be thrown in these ludicrous situations is why I love him so much.
One of the things I'm so glad you picked that one as your first one, because that's a character that it walks so well because he's a video game character.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Every time you as a player makes a decision, like, okay, you take out the Drummel, and then like, oh, now to blend in, you're going to have to play the drums. And the fact that, like you said, he's just naturally great at everything. Like, if he took out the sushi chef at the restaurant, then he could still prepare the best sushi roll in the world because he just knows
the idle
everything.
Animation for that is him just like rolling sushis and like doing everything correctly.
Exactly.
He knows how to do every single thing he could possibly do just so he can go and kill like bad people.
And my favorite thing is, like I said, because he works so well as a video game character, the story, it's not his story that makes him so great. It's the stories you tell using that character. You as a player made a decision, and then the game's like, and he's the best at rolling sushi rolls. He can do that. And you blend in instantly. And you as a player, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, of course he knows how to make that. Duh. No one, yeah, it makes all the sense in the world. And
he's probably the best blank slate of any game ever, because a lot of times they try to give like either blank slates come off as like a silent protagonist that should be talking when he's not, or they talk too much to kind of ruin the blank slate. 47 says exactly what he needs to, knows exactly what to do in any given situation, and for that he's the perfect example of a blank slate character, which should absolutely be commended in like this medium for sure. So I just wanted to throw out 47.
In our current lowest ranking game on our list, I'm going to use that word current. That's a teaser for later things coming. We complained a lot about the protagonist of Dead Space. Isaac. Yeah, Isaac. We complained about things where these dramatic things are happening and he just does nothing. And then at the end, we made a lot of jokes about his shaking his head as the only interaction he ever makes. That's a silent protagonist that's strictly a self-insert character. You're supposed to be doing all the thinking and the emoting for him in your head. He's just a blank slate for you to do that. Agent 47, while he's a blank slate, he's also a means for you to to tell your own stories. You know, when you dress up as the Sheik, like, and he's like walking by everybody like, "Hey, what's up? I'm the Sheik." Like, he's just, it fits so perfectly for the stories you're telling. You're telling all these stories through that character. I think it's a difference. So before people try to be like, "Hey, they made fun of Isaac from Dead Space being a blank, character," it's because he didn't give you anything to work with. Agent 47 gives you stuff to work with when he can all of a sudden bust out that great drum solo, because of course he knows how to do that. Or he, and even like the basic combat side of things, of like when shit goes wrong and all of a sudden he busts open 2 pistols out of a briefcase and starts downing guys. He just feels like a cool, awesome character that you want to be, whatever. It's a really, that's a great first initial choice. I'm going to go ahead and do mine. My first one is a character that you don't actually play it. Well, you do in a recent release, but I have not played that game yet. Is Alyx, Vance from the Half-Life series.
Oh, okay.
Perfect example. Gordon Freeman is completely nothing. Gordon Freeman is a blank stare into the world. You are Gordon Freeman. He gives you nothing. That's extremely highlighted, especially for the time when you play Half-Life 2 and really episode 1 of Half-Life 2. So Alyx really steps out and becomes this really amazing character. She's the first character in video games I remember playing where you're playing alongside that feels like you're actually playing alongside a person and a character, instead of that weird disconnect in games where you'll have a character that interacts and has all this personality in a cutscene, and then when it's time to play, they're just a walking gun, or they're just, a guy who just walks beside you and swings a sword. Alyx, throughout the entire experience of playing Half-Life 2, and then Episode 1 and Episode 2, is this consistent character that continues to give you insight into the world, and it almost puts a weird light on you as Gordon Freeman. And when you have a character that emotes so well and has such great drama and brings so well-rounded character moments to the table, it feels weird to play as Gordon.
You need someone to give you emotional ties to this story. Otherwise, it's just something someone tells you.
Exactly.
Versus like an experience or like something you need to do for the sake of someone. And
like in a game, if you play Half-Life 1, so much of that is just, Gordon running around blowing up Marines and blowing up aliens.
The technology was what was impressive with Half-Life 1, not necessarily the story or something.
And in Half-Life...
This is coming from somebody who's never played Half-Life.
Oh, really? You never played the first half? Have you played 2? Have you played Half-Life 2?
Not the whole thing.
Okay. Well, I know.
I know it's sin. Something we're playing probably sometime. But
as the FPS guy, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to now play Half-Life 2. There was no reason, I think, from this, like, if we did it for this show, we would never go back and play 1. 1 is good. I like 1. But it's not it's not a show. It's not something that I would do for this show. But Half-Life 2, I would do in a heartbeat. But Alyx is just, like I said, there's so many great moments with Alyx. And
what I know about Alyx is that she is like, there's a lot of characters later on that like take inspiration from like her interaction on the battlefield in particular. Like, you don't have to watch out for her. She's capable enough to help you out on your own. Something that for years they still couldn't get right in a lot of games. But like when I think of like Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite, when I think of like Tess from The Last of Us, I know that Alyx played a huge part in what makes those characters so good and what makes them play well.
The journey in Half-Life 2, Episode 1, Episode 2 in particular, of Gordon Freeman is just as easily perceived as the journey of Alyx. Like, she's not a ride-along necessarily for Gordon. She has her own kind of tale to tell. There is no, like, babysitting of Alyx in Half-Life. Like, she is extremely capable and a lot of times is bailing you out as the player. And it's a female character in video games, especially for the time, that is such a well-rounded human being character. They don't rely on any tropes. Like Alyx is a great character standalone, period. Not just a great female character. And that meant a lot, I think, at the time. And it showed that you can do that in gaming. Well, we were still not that far away from like sin, and stuff like that. Well, that was a tougher, pitch to make. And like I said, I do know you play as Alyx in Half-Life Alyx, which is one of the games that makes me actually want to use a VR.
Yep.
And there's, it's just a character that sticks with me to this day. That at the time I felt was like, boy, this is so special. When I was thinking back on characters, I was thinking primarily on characters that you play as. That's a character that you don't play as in those games that still made just as much of an impact on me than a lot of characters that I played as in games. So hit me up. What's another one for you?
This is the game I talked about just recently and just finished. One character stood out and become one of my absolute favorites of all time, and that is Aerith from Final Fantasy VII Remake, in particular over regular Final Fantasy VII. Because not only is she a great character on her own, but she and all the interactions she has with other characters elevates everyone else, elevates the entire cast too.
Do you feel like she is because I was always told that she was kind of like a white bread character. Like she is absolutely not in the remake. She's so full of like life and hope in a world that is constantly, especially in like the lower play areas, like living under oppression. And she is like a beam of light and gives like a reason for like Cloud and the Air characters, like another reason to fight for something, especially when you figure out like her ties, especially to the overall story and her background, her lineage, something that like truly connects with the overall plot. And I want to talk about like her meeting her, like especially so there's the initial reactor run, which is the first like 15-20 minutes of original Final Fantasy VII. Bomb goes off, everything's going well, everything's like really heavy in that moment. Then you run to Aerith, who is selling flowers by a just casually, everyone's running around and she's just selling yellow flowers. And you can choose to be like, I don't want one, or you take one. And in that moment, even though you're Cloud and you're like hardcore and everything, or you're trying, Cloud's a great character too because he's trying so hard to be harder than he actually is. Yeah.
So you can say like, I don't want this flower, or you can look at her as like the screen like is all zoomed in on this flower she's handing you. You can say no, or like, I'm good, thanks, or sure, I'll take it. And you wouldn't say no to her in that moment. Like, she's no one, no matter how hard you're trying to play, will not say no to Aerith wanting to give you a flower in like this like great moment of craziness. And then the moment when you like reconnect with her and she actually becomes a member of your party, there's just a conversation that happens on a rooftop as you're like walking and talking with her, and it is so full of hope, so full of life. Just, I'm trying to be as vague as possible to avoid like spoilers and everything, especially when it comes to like her significance in the later stuff of Final Fantasy VII, because she's a very, very important character, crucial to the overall story. And she becomes Cloud's vessel for him actually emoting, him actually caring, him. And whenever like another character interacts, like Barrett, who's also like a very like hard dude, Aerith helps out his daughter. And just the connection that he has. Every one of the cast members of Final Fantasy VII ends up falling in love with Aerith in some way, shape, or form, with how much hope and radiance she has. Not like literal, but like not literal. And it's like almost tied to the player too, because as like more characters are like kind of latching onto her, you also as the player latch onto her and going, I will protect you to the end of the world.
Is that by any means like kind of now I would say the white bread comment I made was in relationship to the original game, not the remake.
Yeah.
I've heard
Yeah,
nothing but
absolutely.
good things about her in the remake.
Mhm.
But is that kind of it's a very good setup because
Mhm.
I mean, I have to say spoiler. Okay, we'll talk around it. But
Yeah.
like for where her character ends up, it's a very emotionally manipulating way of setting you up for that moment, and that can be done.
It can
Go ahead.
it can come across as like emotional manipulation, but that would only be like if the scenes were, I feel like, trying to make you feel something and they just didn't come across that way. But every time like she had like an emotional scene with Cloud, I just got hit in the gut over and over. It's great. Her
What you just
character.
said, what you just said there is
Yeah.
the difference. That's what I wanted to get at. That it's not emotional manipulation if you just so happen to fall in love with a character. You know, like because then all those moments hit worse. It's like, you know, stories are manipulating. They're trying to manipulate you into a feeling. So it's just like if you just so happen to end up loving the character, then that's the way it is, and then we could pull the rug out from under you.
One line she said, the last thing I'll say about her, one line she says absolutely defines her character. You're doing a boss fight with Cloud, and then Aerith walks in, and Cloud goes, this guy's pretty tough, and Aerith says, so what, screw him. Then pulls out her wand, and then she's in the fight too, and you're like,
okay,
great.
That's solid.
Just nothing will hold her down. She's just like a beacon of optimism that's greatly needed in like a story as like not necessarily bleak as Final Fantasy VII, but as like emotionally heavy as that game.
You need someone who it brings a little bit of ray of sunshine in the darkness. My next character I'm gonna talk about is I was thinking about BioWare. Because I recently read a book, which I need to hand back to you next time I see you, that you let me borrow, called Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. Very, very good book.
Really great book.
I enjoyed it. I read it in a week. Knocked it out in no time. It was very, very good. But they talk about Dragon Age Inquisition in that game, that book. Very fascinating story.
That development was
We could do a whole
Wild.
bonus show on that book. To be honest with you, do a game club bonus show on a book club style. Just a snake eating its own tail all over the place. But
Snake Eater.
Hey, we've already done that. They got a 4-parter, I think, or 3-parter. We got a 3-parter back there, a 4-parter. What is it? 4 parts? 4 parts.
4.
But I was thinking about Dragon Age Inquisition because I was thinking about particularly the Iron Bull character in there.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, man, damn, Iron Bull is pretty fucking great. I like Iron Bull.
He really is.
And I was like, well, that's got to be my favorite BioWare, RPG character. And then I was about to say that was the character I was going to talk about, and then Garrus shows up in my mind.
Yes.
I said, fuck it, Garrus is my best.
Also on my list. I didn't say it because I knew you would bring him up.
Garrus is my favorite character in any RPG.
Agreed.
Garrus goes from the cop trying to be the good cop, trying to, bring actual change and justice to the world, to the violent vigilante, to a
war hero.
Yeah, a war hero that didn't ever set out to be a war hero.
He's like, I'm the best. Like in 3, he's like, I'm the best person in Reaper reconnaissance we got, so I guess I'm the head of the military now.
Yes. And it feels natural. It never feels forced. The moment you find him as Archangel, I guess his Archangel is his code.
Yeah, in Mass Effect
2.
Yeah.
When you find him as Archangel and he takes off his helmet, he's like, "Hey, what's up, Shepard?" He
gets a missile to the face and walks it off.
Shepard. If you are playing Mass Effect correctly, Garrus would be your best friend. If you are playing it incorrectly, you have fucked up. Go replay Mass Effect. But like I was keep thinking about one of my favorite moments in games is when you are up on the roof there shooting with them, and you can let them win.
And I didn't let him win the first time, and I felt terrible for it.
How dare
Just
you?
because I was like, oh, you're challenging me? All right, let's go. I'm not gonna let you win.
But the
and
reaction...
then I saw the scene when he does win, and I messed up. I screwed up. My whole save is broken. Everything is wrong.
The reaction you get when you let him win is one of the most heartfelt, great reactions in games. There's the feeling of him just being like, the excitement.
I finally bested you.
Yeah, the excitement and the joy that Garrus shows is perfect.
There's almost a friendly rivalry there
between
you two that is true with like any like close friend. You're like, I'm not gonna let my friend get the best of me.
It's the
in a lot of ways, and
it's the Legolas Gimli stuff in the Lord of the Rings when they're counting their kills at Helm's Deep.
Literally, because the elves and the dwarves are in War of the Rings have like a lot of like background political tension, and the human centurions have a lot of the background political tension. So it's very
much of the same.
Yeah,
and it's the same vibe.
And it's good to know, like especially in 2, where no one knows how to trust you. Garrus is the one. Even Tali's a little suspicious of you in Mass Effect 2, and she was the only other character from the first game who comes over. Garrus always has your back.
Oh yeah,
he never falters. He was like, I don't like where we're going, but I'm going with you because I don't trust them. I trust you.
He also he's the only guy who like will get in your face and kind of give you like the actual real lowdown. Like, hey man, you gotta buck up here. Here's I'm trusting you on this, but don't fuck up. He's your best friend in those games if you are playing it correctly.
Even when like I've seen some like moments of like flip decisions of decision in 3 I will never make regardless of what playthrough I'm doing, and the fact that Garrus is like, that was a tough call to make, man. Like he still has your back. It's so good.
He never falls into that trope in stories of the character who's like, you made the tough call and how dare you? Like, why did you do this? And it's like, I've been saving people's lives for years. You don't have any faith in me. I've saved your life like 20 times and you don't have any faith in me. Garrus is one of the few characters in stories that you come across that's like, I've been through enough stuff with you to give you some rope. Things are gonna happen and I'm gonna give you some rope to lead, because I know you've been through some stuff.
Especially when there's some characters actually do that in Mass Effect 2. Like they want nothing to do with you.
Fucking
and then
Ashley.
Garrus is like or Caden.
Nobody should have kept Caden alive. If you play Mass Effect correctly, Caden doesn't get off that fucking planet.
But yeah,
let's do one more each because I know we got to get moving.
Roller run time. Let's see, who do I got from my list here that I want to talk about?
I will say, I'm gonna do one more thing out there.
I got one.
I throw one more out there though. If we had more time, I would talk about the Iron Bull. It blew my mind in that book how late he came along in that game. If you read that story, that Iron Bull was not even like fully established in that game till very, very close to release. And the fact that game could have had shipped without that character would have been a damn tragedy. So I'll leave that alone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want to say Cole Phelps from L.A. Noire.
That's a good one.
Because screw Cole Phelps. Also,
you can hate a character and still be one of your...
he's... And the fact that, like, he's... The fact that he starts out as, like, this, like, total, like, good cop, blonde hair, blue eyes, like, coming in from, like, a war hero, has, like, chip on his shoulder. Like, he comes across as, like, the perfect cop. And then as you play the game going on, you realize he's just as corrupt as everybody around him.
He's worse.
Like, like, his, like, complete goodwill around him collapses. That you have with him. Like, not only does he break the trust of, like, the people around him, he breaks your trust as the player. And because of that, I feel like I have to mention him as one of my favorite characters, just because, like, I felt betrayed by his actions. Like, there's a bit where you, as the character, unprovoked, play as Cole Phelps, and you're driving to a spot where you're like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? What is Cole do? Oh no, I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want to do that. Just the fact that like it makes you play through something that you don't want to do, just makes you hate him even more. And because of that, he's still not the worst character in LA Noire in terms of like skeeviness. There's Roy Earl for that, and he does get some points for like finally like cussing Roy Earl out, which is my favorite scene from the game.
I think one of the reasons why I say he's worse, though, is he's the hypocrisy that he feels like he's morally somehow better than other people.
True.
Like, that makes him worse.
I would love to play LA Noire for the show at some point, just because there's so many good characters and much depth to talk about in every single character, including, like, I wanted to talk about Cole Phelps, but probably my actual favorite character from the game, Jack Kelso, is, like, probably the best like moral character in that game, because he knows, at least he's not trying to pretend to be something he's not. Yeah,
he knows who he is. He owns that. And compared to Cole, who's a hypocrite,
and
you know,
everything in that game can be summed up in like one line where there's the final meeting between Jack and Cole after all the emotional baggage he has. Is one of my favorite quotes in any medium. He says, like, about Cole, he's like, courage isn't permanent. It's a tenuous and fickle thing. Courage and cowardice exist in every man. Get over it. Is a line I have memorized because it's so resonant and so great, and it sums up, like, Jack as a character and Cole as a character.
Much like, you know, I think, first of all, what you said about playing LA Noire for the show would be great. We're pretty set for Season 2's games, or guys left for Season 2, but I will say for Season 3, I would have a hard time us not playing LA Noire. It's come up a couple of times on these bonus episodes, and there's so much. One of the things that, like, Cole in particular fascinated me is when I played that game for the first time, he was one of the first characters that I played as in a game where, like, you actively start to hate that character, and you start to, like, feel like you start to agree with other people's opinions on him, right? Like, a lot of stories will have moments where a character goes off the rails, and you, as the person inside the character's head, knows that he's morally right, and everyone's turned on him, and he's, you know, trying to stay the course to prove that he's actually correct. This is a situation where you as the character know, you as the player know, no, he's a fucking scumbag and he's wrong. and you're like, it makes it worse watching him, like, trying to see out stuff or get away with stuff or cover himself, because you're like, no, you fucking scumbag, I know what you did. And
you defend him in your head for so long, going, it's like, no, I'm the good guy here. And then when you lose all hope, again, it's like I said before, you feel betrayed by him.
Yes, and that works.
And that's great writing.
It would have never worked as him being a character that you work with. It only works as well as it does because it's the character that you physically play as.
Exactly.
LA Noire, I think, would be a great game for this show. We would have to figure out how to break it down. That would be a little bit of a problem. But
yeah, it's a little bit of a longer game.
Yeah, but I would love to play it. It's a game that still to this day, you know, not a lot of things
I think about fondly.
Yeah, there's a lot of games, like, you know, for Season 3 that we might do. We have Season 2 on lock. We know what we're doing for Season 2. Not so sure about Season 3 yet. One thing
Wild card.
Wild card. We're playing everything. Please, we're not playing everything. Do not send emails to us saying play, you know, we're not playing, you know.
We're playing Adventure on the original Atari.
No, we're not doing that. My last game, my last character, I'm going to be very, I'm going to be kind of, I'm going to pimp another show that we've done. There's a character I really, really love. It's Manny from,
yes!
Yeah, from Grim Fandango. I love Manny. I was thinking
Manny's
about
great.
this. I have a lot
He didn't make my list, but I love Manny.
I love Manny. It's a game where I think it was my entire pitch for why I wanted Manny, Grim Fandango higher, on our list of games is because Manny is such an amazing character. In a game that's filled with several really good characters, then you got Gladys. Kind of brings it down a little bit. But Manny is consistent in that entire game as just being amazing.
Yeah.
From the little things, like when he has to go to walk, he puts over his suit, his Grim Reaper outfit, and unfolds his sight,
like the stilts and everything.
To him,
it's a job.
Yeah, it's his uniform. He's got to go put the uniform on and get back to things. To Manny being, you feel like Manny succeeds at everything he does.
Because he's held back for so long. When he's finally given the reins, like he's given a broom, and then a year later he turns it into Casablanca.
He boards a ship, and then a year later he is captain of the ship. Like Manny
succeed. He's a willing and dealing businessman, but in a way that's not like scummy.
Well, and in the beginning of the game, you're introduced to him. Manny constantly talks about being held back. And you're like, well, is he being held back or not? And then when you realize that, yeah, they've actively kept Manny from seceding for years. And you realize that if Manny was left to his own devices, he would be extremely successful. Because every time he is left to his own devices, he succeeds at everything. He's literally, almost perfect at these things. And it leads to so many moments in that game that just stick with you. Like the scene where you are dealing with at the final kind of mission at the garden house, the greenhouse. Just that slow walk up the hill where Manny's finally getting to confront and end this journey that he's been on for I think it takes place over 4 years, I believe, is how long it takes place. Manny he's consistently great. Every character he interacts with, his reactions are consistent with who he is as a person. And in a game that I would never tell somebody to go play Grim Fandango just without some caveats, just because it is a 90s ass.
I need to send you a guide first before you start this video game, yeah.
But it's worth it because of how great Manny is as a character. And this, like I said, there's a lot of great characters around him, but there's no one as good as Manny in that game.
I agree.
Him sword fighting on top of a submarine. Manny being Casablanca. Manny, this whole quest to move on in the afterlife, and him, it's amazing. Manny is an amazing character. Just so many great ones. Maybe one day we'll go back and revisit this topic because there's just so many great characters to talk about.
There really is. Part 2.
Ooh,
bless you.
Thank you. But in closing, very fun show. Thank you, Mike, for joining us today and being on here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, it was
you're like permanent co-host.
Yeah, I'm about to say I don't know why I went that way. I'm very tired, man. I'm sleeping very little.
It's like you had a newborn, not like you had a newborn or something.
Yeah, I'm not sleeping a lot. But it's stateofthesave@gmail.com, at stateofthesave on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. As always, send in your emails. I would love to have emails about the characters that you enjoy. If you want to listen to some of the stuff about Manny in particular, we have 2 great Grim Fandango episodes that are on the feed. You can go check those out. Also go back and check out that Undertale series. Both of those shows are stellar. And then next week we'll be doing part 1 of Sonic Adventure 2. And you're not going to want to miss that one. I feel in my stomach that that's going to be an all-timer. Every once in a while, we have a game that just triggers an all-timer, and I feel like this is going to be one. Who knows what's going to happen?
I'm glad I could finally pressure you, because I'm like, Eric needs to see this crazy video game.
I should have asked for more reviews. But yeah, as always, thank you guys for joining us today. Me and Mike will really appreciate it. And fun stuff coming up with the rest of season 2. I'm very excited about the games we're playing for the rest of season 2, and then all the other cool plans we have. And as always, leave those reviews, 5 stars, all that fun stuff. We're having a hard time. It's not tracking our listens properly, so sometimes we're like hitting weird numbers here and there, and then it'll jump. So anytime you can send in a review or something like that, it helps put us out there more, and it gives us more feedback, so we know what you like and what you don't like, so we can do more of the stuff that you like, unless we really like doing stuff that you don't like. So as always, stay safe out there, and thank you guys for joining us.